Time for part 2 in my Gukesh Road to World Champion video series here on YouTube. My name is Linus as always. And second game I've chosen, it's a game between Gukesh against the top rated player of Spain, Jamie Santos Latasa. He was not the top player here, but he's become the top player. So it's 1 year later. Gukesh is 12, 23, 60, and let's see here. Jamie Santos Latasa is also relatively young here. So he's born in 96. So he is born in 96. So he is okay. So he's 22. 22. Jamie Santos Latasa is 22, and they are playing the Cappelle la Grande in France. Classical tournament, happen every year in March in northern France, I think. It's an open tournament, everyone can play. And I choose this game because it's a typical game of Gukesh style. He is playing non-theoretically, and even more non-theoretical in Magnus. So he starts to do this one, and here after d4, black wants to invite to the modern Benoni, I think. Maybe if d5, then d6, e6, and then maybe take, something like that. A modern Benoni with the g3 system. Very complicated line. Maybe Latasa knows that. But instead white is playing c3, and we get the Grünfeld Indian with 3g3 here, where black often plays like c6, this kind of setup here. Theoretical move. Here Santos Latasa does an unusual move. Let's also get some help here from the computer. Sorry. Well, actually both play a little bit strange. Main move here instead of e6 is this one, but e6, and here is an interesting alternative to get out of the main lines. This would be typical position here in the Grünfeld Indian position, and a typical maneuver here is for the one player is to play this one. And then basically just, let's see, maybe this one is not so good, but basically let's see if he castles, then you play a position like this. Maybe castle, b3, knight here, maybe a bishop here or something like that, or a bishop here. It's quite an even game, but often good to play this knight e5 and take on c6. It looks completely illogical, because you spend a move here just to trade a piece, so it's completely illogical. But for some reason it's a recommended plan for some reason. I don't really understand it, but I have accepted it, like that's how you play it. But now the e6 and knight e7, that plan is not possible, at least not right now, of course. So here Gukesh plays this anyway. Looks a little bit more logical actually to put the bishop here outside of the... I think this looks a little bit... That looks a little bit more logical than to put it on a3, as I understand he does in the game. But let's see how Gukesh plays it. Here also a little bit interesting that he doesn't do this one at once, and this would have been possible now if, let's say, black does something else. Let's say black does this, yeah, and you can still do this one because there is yeah, and at least now there is tactic here for b5 and so on. But black also did b6, and the queen did too. I don't really understand it. It's that he wants to put the rook here instead of e1. Don't really understand why. but maybe he thought that black sometimes wanted to play e5 and get Isolani, but I don't think that's a trade that black wants to do, because d5 will just get too weak. But whatever, let's see. It's just typical of Gukesh style. It's like what I call a solid position for both sides. It's like non-confrontative, no tactics, no dynamics, no sharpness, no pieces that can take any other piece. Like the only piece that can take another piece is the bishop that can take here. All pieces are defended except for the bishops, because loose pieces drop off. So just a very solid position for both sides. But here we will see Gukesh magic, and he's a little bit, in my opinion, he's the only player except Magnus who has this, which I would call some kind of a natural talent. And it's a natural talent to outplay the opponent in a completely equal position, and probably the opponents doesn't even, they just think they make like normal moves. They don't really understand like what's happening. So we will see here that just in a few moves Gukesh will win this position here. So let's see what's happening. They just like make random moves here. So here Gukesh made apparently something that the computer thinks is a blunder, because black has had a tactic here that he didn't see. So this is a blunder, because black could be winning by playing this move. And apparently to do this one. And the threat is take here and then take on c3. And if you remove the rook, which looks like the only move, because if you, let's say you move the knight somewhere, then of course take, we get a position like this, where black has rook and 2 pawns for the knights. So it's just 1 point advantage for black, but look at the position. These gorgeous central pawns here, past the pawn, it's just computer think that black is winning here. And the key is that these knights does not have any outpost. The knights need outpost safe squares in the center, and because white doesn't control any central square, black's pawns, as you can see, black control all the central squares of the board here. All these 12 squares are like black's under control, so the knight can't do anything here. So it's just a good position here. And if he would do rook b2 here to go away, then there is apparently a tactic, which I believe it's likely this tactic that neither Latasa or Gukesh saw. And then it's here. So this tactic that they didn't see, it's because both are it's threatened both here and here. Only way is to go here, and now this is defended again, but you can go here, and yeah, this bishop is basically trapped. So best is apparently to do like this. But we can see here it's just a pawn. This is white's best option, but it's still protect past pawn, good advantage for black here. But it was a long, complicated, and especially these knight b5 moves here was probably something that they didn't see. Remember, Gukesh is only 11 here, because it's he's 12. He's 12 now, 12 or 11 here. So it's okay that he misses that, because Latasa also misses it. So here bishop h6. So he saw, Latasa saw this, that there could be tactics here, but he didn't do it the right way. And Gukesh, of course, if one opponent goes here, like if there's any beginners watching here, one question that you have to ask yourself every move is like, why did my opponent play this move? What's his plan? is there any tactic? And it's obviously that the only way you put the bishop here is because it pins these pawns you threaten to take here. So Gukesh plays like this, blocks the bishop, and yeah, defends here. So black goes back, but it's like like tempus doesn't matter so much here. So black decides to trade these bishops. I think that's fine. I think like this is the classical bad bishop here, but like I don't see why this is much better than this bishop, for example, like, or why the bishop on g7 would be better than the one on a3. So I think that's fine. But here Gukesh makes what I think is quite an interesting decision here. He takes the knight for his bishop. Computer doesn't really like it, but I think it's an interesting stuff. Then black to get this bishop here, he should have taken with the rook, so he had the chance to activate the bishop like this, of course. But black gets what's called a bad bishop here because it's the same place as here, but it's just not so simple. Like, so one would first think like just following this, saying bad bishop here, and of course in an endgame where there's maybe just a knight and a bishop and maybe a rook, then of course white would probably have a bit of an edge. But the thing is that there are also a lot of other sayings that like counteract this one. There is this, that even the worst bishop is better than the best knight, and there is a saying that says bad bishop defends good pawns. It's not really the case here. And there is also like a hidden potential in a bad bishop. It's quite bad now, but let's say the bishop would go here and this knight wasn't here, and it would like completely dominate from e4. If white couldn't trade it, it would completely dominate like a lot of important squares here. So yeah, but for that reason black of course should have taken with the rook, both to prepare to double on the c file and also to put the bishop like here. So let's see what happens. And here Gukesh makes an interesting decision here. I think he starts to go on the attack on the king side, which we will see in the game is working extremely well for him. Okay, so here is a bit of a here is a mistake. And it's not so easy to see why it's a mistake, but it's like we have to see the game to kind of understand why it's a mistake. But basically white has the opportunity to take here whenever he wants. It would have been much better to have the bishop on a6 like the computer wanted. The computer wanted to take here with the rook and put the bishop here instead. And the option for white to takes here, it gives some kind of tactical possibilities here on the c file. Like if he takes here, then sometimes black might have to take back, and then maybe he could take here and take here with check, for example. And so there is just like tactic potential here for white sometimes. But of course the idea to reroute the bishop to d2 is correct, but it just doesn't really work here, as we will see, because white is playing here, and now of course we see that rook h2 looks like a threat. Only way for black would probably to play the queen here, but then maybe queen here, or there is just potential here on the h file. So only best move for black would have been but white is already winning here because of these tactical problems with this bishop. For example, best move here was queen h8, and now we see the tactical problems here for black. He can't take back because of course this is of course winning a rook for white, so he has to take here, and after he takes, there is this move. This is a little bit in in problem here. This knight is a bit in problem here. He would like to go back and maybe go here. So if he does that, white is first here. White is first with the grip. He has the open file. He has like black cannot challenge the open file, and they also have a strong knight here. So white is used first for everything. Looks like, let's say he does this one, try to defend rook c7, which was a huge threat. Then white has like a perfect grip here on this knight cannot be challenged. f6 is just being taken, as black cannot challenge the c file, and so let's do like the computer line. So people might think this is equal, but white is winning here because of the passive black pieces here. And this is sometimes you can end up like this in the Slav. So beginners and new players, they think the exchange Slav is nothing, but experts know that it's actually a very, very interesting opening, very, very sharp, extremely sharp opening. You have to know a lot of theory, because such a position like this is just winning for white. Let's just see what the computer thinks is the best moves here, just to showcase like why it's like that. Like white can do whatever here. So starting with improving the king. Let's just go back and forth here. And then of course he's gonna break through here. Something like this, and white is winning this pawn, and this pawn will win for white. So the best move here was also losing this here. If he tried to get rid of these tactical problems, maybe by playing here, then white will play here. And now of course it's threatening, I don't know if it's threatening a checkmate actually, but it's looks very dangerous for let's just see, let's just make a random move. Like, how does white win this? Apparently it's the knight here. Okay, so it's not like this, it's g5 actually. And then here. Okay, so now this is threatening checkmate. And when he does like this, of course he's losing the queen here. So from just a few moves ago, black was better if he took with the rook here. And just a few moves, this bishop e5, uncareful bishop e5, it's just like white has a winning attack on the king side already here. So what black is, he does this one, doesn't help either. Then here. So he does f5, that's also good. Apparently another way to win was to play here. If you take here, take, okay, and then you lose the rook. So that's not possible. So he has to take here. And apparently this one, which is a little bit of a hard, difficult tactic to find. Like black's piece is overloaded. If you take with the queen, this one is hanging. If he takes with the king, you could check here and take the queen, of course. If you maybe take here is best. This one was hanging. And yeah, apparently this, and it's lots of white is just crashing through here, winning on every way here. They didn't see that one, but this one is also winning. Okay, so the most logical move here is this one. Try to fight here. Then white would have played here, here, and here. No, that's not working. Let's go back. And then he's white is basically just trading this rook. And then it's threatening to go here. Has to like do here. Yeah, doesn't work. White is winning here. Strong pawn on f6, paralyzing black. So because of that, he tried this one instead. And now Gukesh saw the winning combination. He could have played the last move also. He took here. Nothing else. Nothing is better here. It's the same kind of similar line that we saw last time. This and this, and it's two knights up. So he took here. And now he took here. Still threatening f6. For example, take here, f6 here, and he can't stop like this. If he tries something like this, maybe, then it's this one also. So like we can see, it's check for false checkmate whatever black does. The computer thinks this one was a little bit better maybe, but it's still false checkmate, of course. And correct is this one now. The point is that, my bad, if this one you can trade the knight, and if he does something else, then still check here apparently. And then this one, that's a nice tactic, threatening checkmate here. So he has to go back and then check here, and if here it's checkmate. So that would, I don't know if Gukesh saw that one, but it would have been like such an epic finish. Remember, he's only 11 years old. If he could end the game by finding this checkmate here, would have been epic, but still a very good game. So Latasa didn't do that, he took here instead. And of course you want to check because this pawn on f6 is just awesome. Then he goes here, and this doesn't work because of this one, and it's mate next move. Very, very impressive game against Santos Latasa. And Gukesh is only 11, like he's playing against a 22-year-old opponent, and it's just not anyone. I think this is one of the highest rated players in Spain, or maybe even the highest rated. There are some other, Shirov and Vallejo and so, but I think he's almost 27, so I think he's the top rated player in Spain right now. So very nice game by Gukesh, and see you next time.